here we are this morning. I'm chatting with Hannah Ingram-Moore. And if you don't know that name, well, you should know it because she is the daughter of a very famous gentleman who's resting at the moment. And you never know, we might even get a chance to chat with him a little bit and get a soundbite from him. Of course, we're talking about the legendary Sir Tom Moore. And Hannah being his daughter, you obviously had a great hand in organizing all of this wonderful fundraising events, I have to say, because really and truly there have been several people have chipped in from overseas and that sort of stuff and so on. You tell me that you've done about 900 interviews so far. So we are interview number 901 with Capital Media. We're very privileged and very proud and very happy to have that opportunity. So may I say on behalf of everybody in Barbados, welcome to Barbados.
Well, thank you so much. We are absolutely delighted to be here. And yes, you're somewhere in the 900 and something, but just as important that all the others. So
Yes.
thank you.
Yes. Tell us, where did this idea come from initially to get Sir Tom into this fundraising exercise, which has exceeded all of your expectations, I'm sure?
Indeed. And I have to be honest, there was never really an idea. We, like everyone else in the UK at the time, were facing the first national lockdown. My husband and I have our own business, we have employees, we have my father who moved in with us 13 years ago, and the children, we have responsibilities. So as we were sitting, contemplating what a lockdown would mean, I think like the rest of the nation, concerned, worried, my father came out of the house for, it was a sunny, first of the sunshine really of the year, at the end of March, beginning of April. And because he'd fallen and broken his hip 2 years ago, he was slowly rehabilitating, taking him much longer than he wanted, but we kept saying, you are 99, like you need to give yourself a little bit of a break. But he came out and started to walk, and I think that, like much of the nation, we were topping up our wine glasses, but the kids were on the barbecue, and my husband said, hey Tom, keep walking, we'll give you £1, Matrix, which is our company, we'll give you £1 a lap, do 100 by your 100th birthday, because we'd had to cancel his 100th birthday party. So he threw it out as a throwaway, let's raise £100. So I went, well, what can we do with £100 and nothing? Let's go crazy and give it a target of 1,000. Because that way we could support the COVID-19 appeal and actually buy something. Buy some PPE, support the hospitals. So my father said, yes, that's a great idea, I love the NHS, let's do it for the NHS. So all that happened was I wrote a little press release because my world is all about communication. My background is brand, so I thought we'd just share a bit of a story. We thought we might get a column in the local paper. We set up a Just Giving page, said, look, and Captain Tom, we gave him a handle because he'd been a captain. And I said, we're going to call you Captain Tom. And he went, you can't, I'm retired. I went, nobody cares. We're going to call you Captain Tom walking for the NHS. So we set up the Just Giving page, sent out the press release, didn't think about it, thought, okay, that'll be nice. In 24 hours, we were on regional news. Within 48 hours, we were on national news. And within 1 week, we had raised £500,000. And in the space of 3.5 weeks, people from 163 countries had donated. It means only 32 countries in the world had not. Our life pivoted. And we were doing 30 interviews a day and raising a phenomenal amount of money. The Just Giving site, they'd never seen anything like it. You may all remember the Ice Bucket Challenge.
Yes.
It had taken 4 years to come to fruition, the Ice Bucket Challenge, and at any one time, they had 10,000 people trying to donate. Through what turned into a campaign but never started as one, 90,000 people were trying to donate from around the world. The website kept crashing. So it became a national phenomenon that people would say, let's play the nation's favourite game. We're going to try and see where we are with the Just Giving site. And it would go millions. Within 2 weeks, we were at 12 million. Within 3.5 weeks, we're at £38.9 million. So it became much more than about the National Health Service, although that was primary. It became about hope. It became about a humanitarian touch. And what he did unwittingly, and because of his age and because of his integrity, what he showed the world is that there were no boundaries for gender, race, age, social status, nationality. None of it mattered. Because in fact, in this crisis, we're connected through humanity. And so the journey has come to where we are today. And as we travel, the family, who were just a family of 5, one's 100 and one is 12. And we've
Quite a
dealt
margin
with
difference.
5 million emails, 200,000 birthday cards, hundreds of thousands of letters that keep coming. And our family has united together in our multi-generational capacity, reciprocally mentoring, supporting each other as the world has turned to look at us. And the expectation for us as a family is that we're honest, that we have integrity, that we represent hope, and we represent family values. And so, of course, what a gift. What a gift to be given a voice and a platform. But what I'll say is it comes with a huge responsibility.
Absolutely.
And one that we are trying to shoulder and represent as well as we can. And that's really part of the reason why we end up in Barbados today.
So this idea essentially grew organically. It's absolutely no vision initially that this would become exponentially probably one of the best known fundraisers of all time, with a great human underpinning. You had no vision of that whatsoever.
None whatsoever. Yes. We could never have imagined it. We thought we'd raise £1,000. Spoke to a PR company about 2 weeks in, and because we were looking, I think, overwhelmed to some people, and truthfully we were. And they put out a communication to the British press. And in the first minute of them saying that all inquiries should now go through them, they had 1,000 emails in the first minute. They'd never seen anything like it.
It's fascinating. You know, I feel a strong connection personally, because I remember being on air doing the morning show on Capital Media, and I'm scanning the websites, you know, and I've done my show, we've prepared the show, but we're scanning, looking. I'm always scanning, looking for new stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And up pops this story about this gentleman. And at that point, you hadn't yet reached that pinnacle. You were now beginning to get the exposure. And we read this story and shared it with our audience. And we had good feedback from the audience. And then we continued to monitor it. So I feel a little bit of a connection to Sir Tom Moore and to this amazing effort that you have undertaken, simply because I became aware of it at an early stage. And then we had our former Minister of Tourism, Kerry Simmons, the Honourable Kerry Simmons, throwing out this invitation to come to Barbados.
Yes.
And hearing that it was, you know, when I first heard it, my reaction was, well, I'm sure there are lots of others who are going to be vying for this attention, you know. Didn't think that would happen. And then a few weeks ago, we heard that it was going to become a reality. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I think fairly early on, in about week 2, my father was asked, and I should just say, stepping back a little bit, that the only reason I was ever doing the interviews with him is because he is very hard of hearing. So the first time we went on national television, I said, well, I'll do it with you in case you can't hear. And we became this double act because he needed me. But actually, somehow, when the presenters would throw out the question, and of course he couldn't hear it, and sometimes there'll be, as you know, 3 or 4 questions in one.
Yes.
So I'm having to cut them apart, cut and paste them back together and push them out. And then he would respond. And somehow it created a bit of electric that we didn't mean to do. So in one of those interviews, someone had said, so, what's on your bucket list, Captain Tom? And so, and I think I laughed and said, oh, they want to know what's on your bucket list. And he said, well, I'd like to go back to India. I'd like to go to America, and I'd like to go to Barbados. And of course, on national television or international television, I'm live. So I can't go, what? I have to go, oh, yes, that's lovely. And secretly inside, I'm going, yes, Barbados. So, and he didn't say Blackpool. And so that's how it sort of happened. At the same time, the invitation came. But I should say this, that at this moment, the world started to communicate with us. So we were starting to receive hundreds of thousands of letters, millions of emails, cards, you name it. So the chances of that invitation arriving at my desk was 1 in millions. And apparently the email had arrived, but it got clogged. We never saw it.
Yeah.
And somebody who was helping us out brought me sort of 10 letters and said, I think I've weaved these ones out for you. I think you should look at these ones. And I'm weaving them through saying, okay, we'll respond to that one. We can do that one. And then I go, Barbados. And I said to my father, you've been invited to Barbados. In fact, we've all been invited to Barbados. And he said, great. I said, do you want to go? And he went, of course I do.
Absolutely.
And so I've been working with the BTMI ever since to make it happen.
Well, I think Cheryl Carter has done an amazing job in ensuring that everything came together and brought you out to Barbados, which brings us to, well, it's sort of bittersweet because it's your last day here and I don't want to take up a lot of your time as I see the sun beginning to come slightly left of center, which means that we're getting to that time of the day when you might need to get your last swim in.
Yeah.
But tell us about the experience of coming to Barbados. I know British Airways has been integral in this and facilitated it. So everything sort of came together really nicely, but I'm sure a lot of planning and a lot of work went into making it happen.
Well, Cheryl was really the foundations to all of this happening. We forged an alliance fairly early on in the process because we knew we needed the two of us to make it happen. And then we were supported not only by her team, but by British Airways, who came very swiftly to the table and said, what do you need? We'll take the whole family. We'll take them as our guests.
Wonderful.
And Blue Sky Luxury, the villa company, helped hugely in saying, we'll support, with the owners, we'll support you for your first week. You won't have to pay a penny. By the second week, they were still helping us out. So we feel that we have been, how I've described it to people is that of everything that's happened to us in the last 9 months, it has been an extraordinary journey. And it's been one that has taken all our resilience and all of our energy, and we do it willingly. And we do it with every ounce of our being, but it's a little bit tiring. So I feel what I describe to people is that we landed in the safety net. That once the BTMI and British Airways and Blue Sky came to the table, that as we landed in Barbados, we landed in a place that welcomed us without asking too much of us. That's how it felt. I mean, simply extraordinary.
That's an interesting way to put it. You landed in a place that welcomed you but asked very little of you. Yeah. But you've done so much for other people that I don't think anything else could be asked of you, given what you have done. I wonder though, what triggered, was the desire to be in Barbados or to see Barbados, was that something he had previously expressed to you? Is that something he'd always been, what is it, the sunshine, the beaches, the cricket? Well, not the cricket at the moment.
But in truth, a little bit of all of that.
Yeah.
And I think that he has wanderlust. He travelled around the world, and as a consequence, my sister and I were taken around the world by him and my mother. And so every summer we'd get in the car, pack the car up and travel through Europe. And he travelled a lot, of course, with the army in the Second World War. And so for him it was about seeing unseen territories, but the territories that he'd heard and dreamed about, I think, all of his life. So I was very fortunate in one of my previous work roles. I'd been in the Caribbean a lot, but never here. And so somehow Barbados, it's hard to describe it. It sort of centered itself in our laps.
So Hannah, having spent now a number of weeks here in this, what we call paradise, the gem of the Caribbean, I want to get your impressions now on what is your takeaway from Barbados? What are the things that resonated with you while you were here? I want to hear a little bit about some of the things you did too as well.
Yeah. Well, I think for us, as I described it to you, we felt like we landed somewhere safe. And there's no question that now our family, our faces are well known. So wherever we've been, there's been recognition. But it's been, it's really hard to describe it because our story is about human touch. It's about humanity. We're not celebrities. We're just ordinary people. We're just an ordinary family at the centre of something extraordinary. And because it's a connection, we'll walk along the beach and people will say, it's Capt Sir Tom's family. We'll walk into a restaurant and the restaurant erupts, especially if we're with my father. And so it's not that we've walked around without anyone noticing, but we've walked around with people showing sheer joy that we're here. And we feel that it's this beautiful, as you describe it, gem of an island. I really feel that, and I've travelled a lot. I'm very lucky. I feel that we landed somewhere that we really could feel that we could continue to come back to and come back to and come back to. We felt that it's regenerated us. And so we have worked hard to show that Barbados is open for business, that you're treating your Prime Minister and the country is treating COVID by really smacking it straight in the head and saying it's not welcome here. They're not afraid to take action here to shut it down, and I think people feel very proud of that here. People seem to feel very proud of the way the country's coping and saying that we're still open. And that's felt really lovely, to feel somewhere where we feel also safe, not just safe from a humanitarian point of view, but safe from a health and safety perspective. So as we've travelled around, we've felt that we're travelling at ease, and we've taken my father to meet 101 and 103-year-old at Queen Anne's Fort, quite something. He had afternoon tea, and it was just an amazing experience to put him in a room where he was the youngest. It makes us all laugh out loud. And we've done some, really lovely things whilst we've been here, trying to support the economy, trying to show that Barbados is open, and trying to show that, look, if you come together as a family, almost anything is achievable.
Tell me a little bit about the things you enjoyed nature-wise. Did you get a chance to sample this magnificent aquamarine water that we're looking at out here? And what are your...
Well, we're here with the children, and we've been so lucky to be in beachside villas. And so we have existed our entire 3.5 weeks swimming in the sea that all the locals tell us is cold, but we're not feeling it. We think it's rather
relative.
lovely.
It's all relative. It's all relative, Hannah.
And walking down the beaches and getting up in the morning and going for a swim. And yesterday, Georgia, who's 12, and I, it was raining. And I said, come on, let's go and swim in the rain in the Caribbean. It won't happen to you for a while.
Yes.
So we have thrown ourselves into what this island can offer. We've sat out from the early mornings. My husband and I have been still working. Our business is still operating in the UK, so we've been getting up in the morning, which has been rather lovely, by ourselves, because we don't do a lot by ourselves. Just the two of us over a lovely cup of coffee, sitting out on the terrace, connecting with the UK, and then the family gets up and our Caribbean life starts. And
what about the foods?
Oh, well.
Have you sampled anything?
Yes, we have, and we all love fish. So we've been very lucky that our whole 3 weeks has been dominated by fish, which of course is not cheap. People think because you're on an island it's all cheap, but it's not. So we've been very careful. We've been working with the chefs in our property not to look like we're extravagant. We're looking at the money we're prepared to spend and spending it wisely, so that we're also looking at what that means, so that we don't look like we're...
Yeah. What, any favorite fish?
Oh, well, we love mahi-mahi.
Mahi-mahi,
really, we've been trying barracuda.
Barracuda is a very nice fish too, as well. Yeah.
And snapper, of course, we love it.
The red
and
snapper.
Tuna. The children love fish too, as does my father.
Yes.
So he's been eating lots of fish almost every day. So we've been embracing everything the island has to offer.
So Hannah, you've talked about the fish and the wonderful food that you've had locally. Now this is the country that invented rum,
Yes.
1703, and that's documented, that's a historical fact. I want to hear, did you sample our rum?
It would have been rude not to, wouldn't
It absolutely would be. It would be terribly rude.
And we have been very, very lucky to sample some rather lovely rum whilst we've been here, and there's some in our case to take home, but don't
absolutely,
tell anyone.
absolutely.
And we have become rather partial of an evening to a rum punch, which we seem to be getting stronger and stronger every day as our hand slips a little on the bottle. But it's been, yes, in every way, we've enjoyed truly everything that we feel that this island represents.
Well, you know, as a small island, we're very proud of who we are. The late and former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan once described Barbados as an island punching above its weight. And we certainly have done that. I mean, for the last 5 years, one of our distilleries here has been named the #1 distillery in the world in the competition. We produced rum. We gave the world rum. We gave the world Cigar-Field Sobers, arguably the greatest cricketer of all time. Still with us, a national hero. We gave the world Rihanna. And now the world has allowed Captain Tom to come into our space. So I really want to thank you for giving us this opportunity. And I hope that now that you saved the best for last, because you said that you had worked in the Caribbean, but you'd never come to Barbados. There must have been a reason why that was. Barbados was left on the table for the ultimate experience.
I think that's true. Some things are meant to be, aren't they? And I think, as I've mentioned to you, we feel like we've been given this gift, and we're holding it, and we're nurturing it, and we're trying to do our best by it. And what Barbados has given us is just a little bit more foundation, just a little bit more give, because you've bolstered us, you've re-energized us. And so for that, we thank you.
Well, I want to say thank you for giving Capital Media the opportunity to come and have a chat with you. It was supposed to be brief, but it probably went on a little bit longer than a brief interview. But what you have is really, you've done something that has grown organically. It's been a phenomenal experience. It evolved beyond even your wildest expectations. And I think therein lies the fascination that a regular family, like any other family, as you said, well, you weren't. I think you're being modest now. You are celebrities now, whether you want to recognize that or not. But you started out as a regular family trying to do something for your community in a small way, and to use basically the patriarch of your family in that process. And in so doing, something grew organically into this absolutely amazing story. Where I sit every day in news and in media, most of the stories are negative. They're bad, they're ugly. And sometimes even reading them, you kind of feel this sense of, wow, we could use some better news. So thank you for providing us with the better news.
Thank you very much. It's been my absolute pleasure, not only to be here on behalf of the family, and to talk to you.
Well, I hope when you go back that we're online, so you will give us a little listen every now and then.
We will.
And keep us informed of the progress, so we have a little something extra that the others may not have, and that we can share with our audience. And I certainly look forward to your returning to Barbados. And I wish you and your family, your kids, your husband, bon voyage. But we say au revoir. We hope to see you again and to see Captain Tom again sometime in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you.